Okay, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, we had to start it all over again because we had some itches, in our communication and guidance. Anyway, now the development now so far, and that's an update on what's happening at the collapsed building in Ikoyi, Lagos, is that the owner's body has been recovered, fortunately dead and recovered yesterday and deposited at a morgue. Now, the Lagos State governor has declared a 3 days mourning for the victims of that unfortunate incident. And of course, a similar incident had happened also in Lekki. Yeah, we are not yet updated if there were lives lost, but then we just hope that people were safe there. But then this issue of building collapsing, just around this time, some people have said that maybe it's as a result of the downpour of the rain and all of that. But then we would see what will happen after the investigation tribunal for the collapsed Lagos State's building submit their report, which is supposed to take just about 4 weeks. Members of the investigation tribunal inaugurated to conduct an inquiry into the cause of the collapsed Ikoyi building has been given 4 weeks to submit reports on their findings. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who inaugurated the tribunal, gave the charge to the members during their formal inauguration today. Sanwo-Olu shared the picture with them his picture with them on his Facebook page. Today, I inaugurated members of the investigation tribunal that will conduct an inquiry into the misconduct responsible for the collapse of the 21-story structure on Gerard Road in Ikoyi on Monday. To underscore the importance of this assignment, I have also signed the instrument legitimizing the composition of the panel and empowering the tribunal to summon anyone and any organization useful to the investigation. The people deserve to know what went wrong, and even though it would not bring back the lives lost, it would help to prevent a reoccurrence of such a tragic event. The inauguration of the panel shows sincerely that the state government is interested in unraveling and getting to the root cause of what's happened, so that everyone concerned, including the government, will learn from the very unfortunate incident. Of course, up till yesterday, about 32 bodies have been recovered. But then rescue operation is still on the way. Lagosians and the world will be watching and waiting keenly with the full expectation that the immediate and remote cause of this tragedy will be uncovered. I have given the panel a mandate to complete the job within 4 weeks. That is coming all the way from Lagos State, from the governor of Lagos State. However, he has also gone ahead to declare 3 days mourning. 3 days mourning. It says flag to fly at half-mast. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has declared 3 days mourning over the Ikoyi building collapse, which occurred on Monday. No fewer than 32 persons are believed to have died in the incident. Of course, that's the detail. That's up till now. All flags are to be flown at half-mast in public and private buildings, and official engagement cancelled during the mourning period. The Lagos State government once again commiserate with all those who lost their loved ones in the unfortunate incident. Quite a number of people lost their lives in that incident. I heard of the story of a man who was actually on his way, a developer also, a co-developer who was actually on his way to the United States. The driver, he received a call from late Mr. Femi Oshibino to stop over and see 1 or 2 things, and he just stopped over. Unfortunately, he was trapped. Unfortunately, he was trapped because the driver was waiting outside. I know you must have seen that video of the driver weeping, saying he was taking him to the airport, taking his passenger to the airport. Unfortunately, several stories of people who were trapped in that particular rubble are all over the place. But then what can we do? The deed has been done. But then we would look at certain things just after this. Governor Sanwo-Olu also has visited the site thrice, 3 times, to encourage the rescuers and console relations of those who are believed to have been trapped in the 21-story building. He was today at the hospital to cheer up those injured before swearing in a 6-man panel inquiry to find out why the building went down and recommended measures to prevent such incidents in the future. That's made available to us by the Honorable Commissioner of Information and Strategy, Benga Omotosho. And so, like we said at the beginning, Femi Oshibino's, the developer and owner of the structure, his body recovered from the collapsed building rubble. A body believed to be the owner of the building, Femi Oshibino, has been recovered on Thursday. Combined team of emergency responders recovered the body, which has been taken to a morgue. As gathered, the lifeless body of Oshibino was recovered Thursday after painstaking efforts from emergency responders. However, there were conflicting reports on when the body was actually recovered. While a report said the body was recovered early Thursday, another stated Thursday evening. As of press time, there was no official confirmation on the report. The 16th floor building was owned and constructed by the late Oshibino's company, Fourscore Heights Limited, after over 72 hours of rescue and search operations since the incident occurred. A vehicle belonging to one of the trapped victims was removed from the scene on Thursday evening by a rescue team. The details of the vehicle that was removed from the scene is YAB 655AZ Toyota Highlander dark color. The owner was said to be the owner of an aluminium fabrication company. He came there with some of his workers, who included one Kenneth Otu. Well, so many unfortunate stopovers were made at that place just about that time. One of the workers said he just stepped out to charge his phone, and just looking back and something had happened. Well, we just pray that such things will not repeat itself, but then we need to also put in all measures. We look forward to seeing the report of the investigation panel as to why that building came down. Talking about inferior materials at this time, well, that could be one of it. But then we would see, is it as a result of the approval of 15 floors and 21 was built, which of course I don't agree with. I don't agree with that 15 floors were approved, and of course the man had been suspended indefinitely. Why would he make such a statement? It is unprofessional. Does it mean that there were no officials who went back to check that such a structure was being built in town? It wasn't a bungalow or duplex, but then such a high-rise structure was being built in town, and you made approvals for a certain number of floors, and then they went past that floor. But then what shall we say? What do we say that it's good that it's happening now? Or lives are still lost. Lives were still lost, and unfortunately that included, of course, one of the best brains that we had in the developing and building industry. Considering the strides and all the achievements of Fourscore Heights construction, it's a loss to the construction industry. Well, that's the development now. And of course, when you now look at the similar event that took place in Lekki, we've not heard of lives lost in that particular one. But one question I'm going to leave you with is, what happens to the other two buildings? What happens to the other two buildings? Do we trust or believe in the strength of those buildings, going by what has happened to this third one? Do you think those buildings will stand? Or do you think, those are questions that were just running through my mind. If this one could come down, then do we trust the other two? Were there inferior materials that were brought into the place? Considering the cost of, materials now, how expensive things are today, but then is that enough? Considering how much these buildings are going for, I mean, should they be built with inferior material? Now we cannot blame the dead anyway. But then because Mr. Femi Shipino, late Mr. Femi Shipino, it's not the person going to bring cement there. It's possible he had paid for tents, for instance. I'm just giving an example. He could pay for 10 cements and, he would not supervise everything. He will not come there every day and say, okay, he must have people, who will be in charge. And so even if that's happened, it did not happen from his end. So we can blame the dead. We can blame him for if that was the case, But then may the soul of this great man rest in perfect peace. But then that is the development from ONIF TV touching, the collapsed building in Ikoyi. Of course, as we have other updates, we would let you know. And of course, we'll do our best to come up with, so that because it's not just going to affect people in Lagos. Of course, the people that died in that place are not just Nigerians. We have Togolese and people who are, if you have been to those places, you would know how people troop into, trying to get livelihood and all of that. So I'm scared of the number of people that are trapped in that place. A lot of people will be in that rubble, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And so we should do everything possible to, even in your own private construction work, please, no managing of resources. If you cannot do it now, you can always do it later. Let us not manage resources. Let's not be managing material. You're supposed to use 2 bags of cement. You say, let's manage 1. Why would you manage 1? Because the cost of 1 bag of cement that you did not use will not be commensurate with the cost of what you're going to lose if anything goes wrong. Somebody could have made a huge sum of money off this particular building. Somebody could have, who was told to buy 10 bags of cement, probably went there and supplied only 5 bags of cement. And somebody somewhere collected the money for 3 and gave him the money, and they shared the money in there. They could go buy a Toyota or whatever, or buy a Mercedes Benz, or even go build a house in their villages. But then, the lives of people, look at it. You can imagine if these floors were already being occupied. Look at the teeming number. I've worked in such places before. I know the teeming number of people, maids, children, families that would already be stuck inside such a place, But then so we should just be very, very careful. We should be conscious and we should respect life. We should, in all our endeavors, we should have value for people's lives. Let it not be a thing of, it doesn't matter what concerns me after all, I'm not the one going to live there. That should not be the thing, the mindset. That should not be the mindset. Well, it's an early morning show, and so I would leave you here. Drop your comments and your opinions on this matter. Like I would always say, make your comments as civil as possible. Good morning. God bless you. My name is Olukunle Abraham. And of course, I will come back again with updates and of course, whatever we have for you again.